Welcome back, legends. Today's journey will hit your mind harder than any motivation you've felt before. If you're someone who wants to grow stronger inside and out, you're in the right place. Stay with me till the end. This truth will change the way you face every battle in life. And hey, if powerful wisdom inspires you, make sure to subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Most people hear the phrase, "be water, my friend," and think it's just a cool quote. Something simple, something calm, something poetic. But the truth is far deeper, far sharper, and far more powerful than the version we usually hear. The idea behind "be water" isn't just about flowing. It's about understanding yourself on a level most people avoid. It's about facing moments that shake you, moments that test you, moments that expose who you really are, and learning to move through them without losing your identity. When Bruce Lee spoke about water, he wasn't talking about softness. He was talking about adaptability, the ability to shift without breaking, to change without losing your purpose, to handle pressure in a way that transforms you instead of destroying you. Water doesn't fight obstacles. It studies them. It learns their shape, and then it moves in a way that allows it to continue forward. That's not weakness. That's intelligence. Think about your own life. How many times have you held on to anger, stress, fear, or ego because it felt safer than letting go? How often have you felt stuck because you were trying to stay rigid, trying to appear strong, trying to control everything around you? That's exactly where most people fail. They resist life instead of understanding it. They push against every challenge instead of learning how to move through it. Be water is a reminder that strength isn't always loud. Real strength is controlled. It's stable. It's responsive. It's calm even when the world isn't. It's the ability to stay true to your path while shifting your approach whenever life changes direction. Water can take any shape, but it never stops being water. It never forgets what it is. And that's the real shock behind this philosophy. It's not about becoming something else. It's about becoming the best version of what you already are. When pressure rises, you don't break. When life shifts, you adjust. When challenges appear, you flow, you learn, and you continue. That's the hidden meaning. That's the part most people never understand. And once you do, everything in your life begins to move differently. There's a hidden layer behind "be water" that most people never talk about. Not because it's dangerous, but because it requires a level of self-awareness many people aren't ready to face. Bruce Lee shared ideas through metaphors, giving us just enough to think, but not enough to fully understand unless we're willing to look deeper. And this deeper part, the layer he never openly explained, is what truly transforms your life from the inside out. Water adapts, yes. Water flows, yes. But the real mystery is why water is able to do all of this so effortlessly. It's because water has no ego. It doesn't resist just to prove something. It doesn't try to be right. It doesn't compare itself to anything else. It simply understands the moment and becomes what the moment requires, without losing its true nature. This is the part people ignore in their everyday life. Most of our stress comes from trying to control things that were never in our control. Most of our frustration comes from arguing with reality instead of understanding it. And most of our emotional exhaustion comes from the ego, the constant need to prove ourselves, defend ourselves, and protect an image that doesn't even represent who we truly are. Bruce's deeper message was this: you are strongest when you stop fighting yourself. Think about that for a second. Every time you doubt yourself, you're fighting yourself. Every time you let fear decide your choices, you're fighting yourself. Every time you resist growth because it feels uncomfortable, you're fighting yourself. And that's why so many people feel stuck. Water never fights itself. It never argues with its nature. It never tries to be something else. That's why it moves so freely, so calmly, so powerfully, even when the world around it changes. This hidden layer of "be water" isn't about being passive. It's about releasing everything inside you that stops your natural flow. The fear, the doubt, the unnecessary pressure, the unrealistic expectations. When you drop the weight you carry internally, your mind becomes lighter. Your decisions become clearer. Your path becomes visible. And suddenly, you start experiencing life with a level of awareness you never knew existed. That's the part Bruce never fully explained. Not because it was secret, but because it had to be discovered within yourself. There's a moment in every person's life where emotions take over. Not gently, not slowly, but suddenly, like a wave you didn't see coming. Fear shows up when you least expect it. Anger rises when you feel unheard. Uncertainty creeps in when life stops making sense. Most people believe these emotions are signs of weakness, signs of failure, or signs that they're losing control. But that's because they've never understood the deeper truth behind be water. Water doesn't panic when the environment changes. It doesn't collapse when pressure increases. It doesn't freeze under uncertainty. It simply transforms. And that's exactly what Bruce Lee wanted us to understand. Your emotions don't make you weak. Your emotions are signals, messages, information. The real weakness comes when you refuse to understand them. Fear, for example, is not your enemy. Fear is a compass. It points toward the areas of your life that need growth. When water encounters something bigger than itself, it doesn't stop. It moves around it, learns from it, and continues. Fear is the same. It doesn't stop your life. It shapes your direction. Once you learn to listen instead of run, fear becomes clarity. It tells you this matters. Pay attention. Grow here. Anger, too, is often misunderstood. Anger doesn't mean you have lost control. It means something inside you needs attention. It's a sign that your values were challenged, where your boundaries were crossed, where your expectations were betrayed. Water never crashes with frustration. Instead, it adjusts its flow with intention. That's what you can do with anger. Instead of letting it explode outward or burn inward, you can channel it into direction, into decisions that protect your peace, into actions that reflect your worth, into choices that keep you aligned with your truth. And then there's weakness, the word people fear the most. But here's the truth nobody likes to admit. Weakness only exists when you stop learning. Water is never ashamed of its form. Whether it's a drop or an ocean, it continues to move, continues to change, continues to evolve. That's why water becomes powerful. Not because it starts as power, but because it never stops transforming. Your weakness is simply an unshaped version of your strength. Your doubt is the beginning of your confidence. Your confusion is the doorway to your clarity. The transformation begins the moment you stop running from your emotions and begin understanding them. When fear arrives, instead of shutting down, ask, what is this teaching me? When anger rises, instead of reacting, ask, what truth is this reminding me of? When weakness appears, instead of hiding, ask, what skill can I build here? This is the mindset of water, not resisting, not collapsing, but learning, shaping, and adapting. And here's the powerful part. The moment you stop fighting your emotions stop fighting you. You begin to see fear as guidance. You begin to use anger as direction. You begin to treat weakness as a pathway. And slowly, a shift happens inside you. Your mind clears. Your decisions strengthen. Your confidence grows, not loudly, but quietly, like a river carving its path through stone. This is the transformation Bruce hinted at, but never put into exact words. Water becomes powerful because it understands itself. And you become powerful the moment you begin doing the same. Your emotions were never obstacles. They were teachers. Your reactions were never flaws. They were signals. Your struggles were never punishment. They were invitations to grow. When you learn to flow with them instead of resisting them, you unlock a strength that doesn't depend on the world being perfect. A strength that lives inside you, moves with you, grows with you, just like water. There comes a point in everyone's life where the world stops listening, things stop going your way, and every path you try to take feels blocked. It doesn't matter who you are, life has a way of testing you. Not gently, not softly, but in a way that forces you to face yourself. And that's exactly where I found myself, standing at a moment where I felt overwhelmed, confused, and unsure which way to move. It was one of those situations where you don't get to choose an escape. You only get to choose who you become. People think growth happens in comfortable moments, but it doesn't. Growth happens when your peace is shaken, when your plans fall apart, when life places you in a position where you must either bend or break. And even though I didn't understand it back then, I was about to learn the deepest meaning behind be water. I remember feeling stuck between two versions of myself. One version wanted to fight everything, fight circumstances, fight expectations, fight pressure. That version believed resistance was strength. That version believed staying rigid would protect me. The other version, the quieter, calmer version, whispered something different. It kept telling me that maybe the real strength wasn't in standing firm, but in learning to shift without losing who I was. But like most people, I didn't want to bend. Bending felt like losing. Adjusting felt like weakness. Let it go felt like giving up. So I kept pushing and pushing, hoping my stubbornness would carry me through. But the more I resisted, the heavier everything felt. The more I fought reality, the more exhausted I became. And that's when the truth finally hit me. I wasn't struggling with life. I was struggling with myself. That moment, the moment I realized I was the one drowning myself with resistance, changed everything. I finally understood what Bruce Lee meant. Be water isn't a quote. It's a choice. When pressure rises, you can either become rigid and crack under it, or you can let yourself adapt, learn, and move with the flow of what life is trying to teach you. I began letting go of the illusions I was holding on to, the need to control everything, the fear of changing directions, the belief that flexibility meant weakness. Slowly, the weight I carried started to lift. Life didn't instantly become easier, but it became clearer. The pressure didn't disappear, but it became manageable. And for the first time, instead of fighting the moment, I began moving with it. That's when I understood something powerful. Flexibility is not surrender. Flexibility is strategy. Adjusting is not losing. Adjusting is intelligence. Just like water, I didn't need to force my way through. I needed to shape myself to the situation. I needed to learn what the moment required, instead of demanding the moment match my expectations. And when I finally chose to bend instead of break, everything inside me shifted. The fear became smaller. The pressure became clearer. And the path that once looked impossible started opening. Not because it changed, but because I changed. This is the moment where the philosophy of be water becomes real. Not in quotes, not in ideas, but in the quiet, internal decision to stop resisting life and start flowing with it. That's when the transformation truly begins. There's a point in your journey where understanding stops being an idea in your mind and becomes a truth in your heart. That moment came to me quietly, without drama, without noise, almost like a soft whisper after a long storm. It was the first time I truly understood what Bruce Lee meant when he said, be water. Not the surface-level meaning, not the calmness people talk about, but the deeper core of the philosophy that changes how you move through your entire life. It happened during a time when everything felt uncertain. I was trying to make progress, trying to control outcomes, trying to force solutions. And the harder I pushed, the more things slipped out of my hands. I felt like I was chasing stability, but somehow creating more instability. And then one day, something inside me finally paused. I wasn't giving up. I was waking up that I began to notice something. Every time I tried to control everything, I became anxious. Every time I tried to resist change, I felt stuck. Every time I tried to hold on too tightly, I ended up losing my sense of peace. But whenever I allowed myself to adjust, even slightly, things started to move more naturally. Problems didn't disappear, but they stopped overwhelming me. Challenges didn't vanish, but they started making sense. That's when the truth clicked. Being water isn't about softness, it's about alignment. It's about aligning yourself with reality instead of fighting the flow of life. Water doesn't cling to one shape. It doesn't insist on one direction. It doesn't panic when things change. It simply becomes what the moment requires while staying completely true to its essence. Once I understood that, my entire perspective shifted. Instead of forcing solutions, I started observing. Instead of clinging to old plans, I adapted. Instead of expecting life to follow my script, I learned to adjust my steps. And for the first time, I felt something powerful: clarity. Clarity is a quiet strength. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It simply guides you toward the next step with calm confidence. And that's what being water gave me: a sense of inner direction that didn't depend on the world being perfect. I stopped seeing challenges as threats and started seeing them as opportunities to evolve. I stopped fearing uncertainty and started understanding it as part of the natural flow. I stopped judging myself for not knowing everything and started appreciating the process of learning. And slowly, life felt lighter. Not because the challenges were gone, but because I wasn't fighting them anymore. Here's the real secret I discovered. Water is powerful not because it's forceful, but because it's willing. Willing to change, willing to grow, willing to move, willing to become. And when you adopt that same mindset, something incredible happens. You stop breaking under pressure. You stop losing yourself in stress. You stop feeling overwhelmed by every change around you. Instead, you move with intention. You choose your reactions. You shape your path without forcing it. That was the moment everything changed for me. The moment the philosophy stopped being just words and became a way of living, a way of thinking, a way of responding to the world. And once you feel that shift, once you experience what it means to move like water, you realize something profound. You're not meant to control life. You're meant to flow with it. And when you do, life opens in ways you never imagined. There's one truth we rarely admit. Most of the battles we face in life happen long before anything actually goes wrong. They happen in our minds, in our expectations, in the stories we tell ourselves. And when we don't understand how to navigate those inner battles, we end up living the same struggle again and again, even when the world around us changes. This is the part of Be Water that carries the highest stakes, the part most people never recognize until years have passed. Think about how often we react to life with the same patterns. Something challenges us, and we respond with fear. Someone disappoints us, and we respond with anger. A plan falls apart, and we respond with frustration or confusion. Even when we want to change, we fall back into the same emotional loops. It's almost like running in circles without realizing the ground beneath us hasn't moved at all. This is what happens when you don't understand the deeper principle of water. Life feels heavier because you keep fighting the same battles instead of learning from them. When something unexpected happens, you feel overwhelmed. When someone behaves differently from what you hoped, you feel stressed. When your path shifts direction, you panic or resist. And it's not because you're weak. It's because nobody taught you how to adjust your mind the same way water adjusts to its surroundings. But here's where the stakes become real. If you never learn this, the same experiences will return in different forms. You'll meet new challenges that feel strangely familiar. You'll face new situations that trigger the same internal reactions. You'll keep wondering why you're stuck, even when you try your best to grow. Because the battle isn't with the world, it's with your pattern. This is why Bruce Lee's philosophy is so powerful. Water never repeats a mistake. It never pushes where it cannot move. It never forces a path that isn't ready. It observes, understands, and then chooses the most effective way forward. When you adopt this mindset, your entire life changes. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin responding intentionally. Instead of repeating the same mistakes, you begin recognizing the pattern before it takes control. Instead of feeling powerless, you begin understanding your own internal strength. And that's where the transformation begins, when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me again?" and start asking, "What is this moment trying to teach me?" Because every situation has a lesson. Every disappointment has a direction. Every delay has a hidden purpose. You just need the clarity to recognize it. And here's the most powerful part. Once you understand the principle of water, you stop repeating battles. You start outgrowing them. The stress that once overwhelmed you becomes manageable. The emotions that once controlled you become understandable. The challenges that once scared you become steps in your growth. And life no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something happening for you. That's the high stake behind this philosophy. Miss this, and life feels heavy, repetitive, and confusing. Understand this, and life becomes lighter, clearer, and more purposeful. This is the turning point. This is the moment where everything begins to make sense. And once you reach this level of understanding, you truly begin to move like water. Calm, aware, adaptable, and quietly powerful. Imagine this. Life throws everything at you at once. Challenges, uncertainty, setbacks, unexpected changes. Most people panic. Most people resist. Most people feel like they're losing control. But what if you could face all of it and stay unshaken, calm, clear, and fully in control of your inner world? That is the ultimate lesson hidden behind Bruce Lee's philosophy, the part that most people never fully grasp. This is the deadliest secret of all. You can move through life's storms without being broken, without being dragged down, and without losing yourself. The key is understanding that strength doesn't come from fighting everything around you. True strength comes from mastering the one battle you can always win, the battle within. Every fear you feel, every doubt that creeps in, every moment of uncertainty is an invitation to apply this principle. Water never fights the storm. It flows through it, around it, and sometimes over it. That is how you survive and thrive, not by resisting the pressure, but by learning how to move with it. Think about it for a moment. The obstacles in your life, they are not permanent. They are not personal attacks. They are opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to adapt, and to discover the power you didn't know you had. When you start seeing life through this lens, everything changes. Challenges don't intimidate you. They teach you. Mistakes don't defeat you. They guide you. Pressure doesn't crush you. It shapes you. The water mindset isn't about passivity. It's about awareness. It's about understanding what is happening, responding intelligently, and moving with purpose. It's about being flexible, not fragile, strong, not rigid. When you truly internalize this, life becomes less about surviving and more about thriving, because your energy is no longer wasted fighting reality. Your energy is used to move forward, to grow, and to transform every challenge into a stepping stone. And here's the final secret. The power of water is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't rely on drama or noise. It simply flows. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to force control over circumstances. You simply adapt, observe, and act with precision and clarity. That is how water, and you, when you embrace this mindset, becomes unstoppable. Imagine living each day like this. The stress that once drained you becomes manageable. The fear that once held you back becomes guidance. The uncertainty that once paralyzed you becomes a map showing you where growth awaits. That's what it means to walk through storms untouched. That's what it means to be water. Bruce Lee's deadliest secret wasn't about punches or fights. It was about mastering yourself. It was about understanding the flow of life and learning how to move in harmony with it. It was about transforming fear into clarity, anger into direction, and weakness into strength. And the truth is, once you grasp this, nothing outside of you has the power to break your inner peace. This is the ultimate freedom. This is the ultimate strength. And this is the moment where philosophy becomes practice, when words stop being ideas and start being the reality of how you live. Flow like water. Adapt like water. Move with life, and nothing, no storm, no challenge, no pressure can touch the strength within you. That is Bruce Lee's greatest lesson. That is the secret that will change everything. Thank you for staying with me and exploring this journey of strength and awareness. Your time means a lot, and I hope you feel inspired to apply the power of being water in your life. If this video gave you value, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the wisdom that can transform your mind and your path forward. See you in the next video.